Russians and Ukrainians could be kicked out of Sri Lanka, where many people have been living to avoid the military draft. But they've been criticised by locals for allegedly setting up whites-only bars. Now, the immigration controller has said that Russians and Ukrainians who are on extended tourist visas have 2 weeks to leave the country. But the president hasn't backed this and wants an investigation into how the order was made without approval. Nearly 290,000 Russians and 20,000 Ukrainians are thought to have travelled to Sri Lanka since the start of the war in 2022, according to official data, with many trying to avoid being drafted to fight. The Russian embassy in Sri Lanka has said that the bar promoters didn't intend to hurt anyone, and that Russia strongly condemns all forms of racial discrimination and nationalism.
So let me get something straight. You mean to tell me that a non-white or a non-European country, Sri Lanka, opens its door to you, and then the first thing that you can think about is, nah, I don't want to be a part of those people. Let me segregate myself. How does that make any sense? Do you see how messed up that mentality is? I mean, do you guys remember the reporter that said this?
With the Russians marching in, it's changed the calculus entirely. Tens of thousands of people have tried to flee the city. There will be many more. People are hiding out in bomb shelters. But this isn't a place, with all due respect, like Iraq or Afghanistan, that has seen conflict raging for decades. This is a relatively civilized, relatively European, I have to choose those words carefully too, city where you wouldn't expect that or hope that it's going to happen. So it's partly human nature, but
I mean, that should tell you the mentality of these people. Like, you guys are not known for fighting wars. I mean, World War I and World War II practically happened in Europe. So what is this guy talking about? I mean, you guys even won a Nobel Prize because you stopped fighting. That's how crazy things used to be in Europe. And it's this same group of people that will tell you, as an immigrant, when you move to a place, when you move to Europe or the West, they will tell you, you have to try to learn the language, you have to try to integrate with the people, you have to try to learn their culture, blah, 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 blah. But I guess that rule doesn't only apply to people that are non-white, right? Once you're a white person, that rule doesn't apply to you. Because I don't understand why you would want to go to another country and you would think you want to go there and take over. Someone is doing you a favor by allowing you to come into his house, and your messed up mentality is, I want to segregate myself from them. How does that make sense? Tell me. I mean, what is wrong with you people thinking you are better than everybody? Why? Just imagine a group of Africans coming to Germany or coming to Europe, for example, and then you get there, they allow you in as an immigrant, and then the first thing you want to think about, instead of thinking about how you want to integrate, learn the language, know more about the people, the first that will come to your mind is, want to create a black-only party. Do you see how quickly we're going to be kicked back to where you came from? So why do you think you have the effrontery to go and do the same thing in another country? Why? And what even pisses me off the most is, you guys are the set of people that will preach equality, fundamental human rights, no to racism, yada yada yada, and you'll be the first person that will break the same rule that you keep preaching. That's hypocrisy. That's double standard, in my opinion. Why? This colonialism mentality has to change. The world is moving fast. You are the only set of people, the white people are the only set of people that will go to another place and find it difficult to integrate. Why? There's a lot of history to back up my point. Instead of thinking of how you want to integrate, you think of how you want to take over. Why? I mean, let's listen to what other people had to say about this story.
But they've been criticised by locals for allegedly setting up whites-only bars.
A couple 100,000 Russians, Ukrainians escaped the war in Russia, which is nice, but they're just a bunch of racist pricks who decide, hey, this country that allowed us to escape the war, fuck them, we're not going to want to deal with anybody there and, segregate away from. So, unfortunately, they didn't get kicked out, which would have been nice. It's still developing, it's not earth-shattering news, but it's just crazy to see racist imperialism still in the modern day, which we all know is still the case, but anyway.
For allegedly setting up whites-only bars.
So you mean to tell me that a bunch of these people escaped their war-torn country to seek refuge in a different country, and the first thing that they figured out was how to segregate themselves from the locals. It just seems like it's such a natural, ingrained, evolutionary state for them. Like, where does it actually come from? I'm just so curious, because how do you go from a war-torn country where your human rights have been consistently violated to a place like, Sri Lanka, and then say, yeah, look, I'm going to do more of the same here. Like, we've gone through billions of years of evolution to the point where, like, us as a human race, we have so much diversity within us, right? So tell me why these people fail at adapting to every single environment, every single country that they go to. Like, if we were to go back hundreds of years and consider them to be, the immigrants, because that's what they were, as well as invaders, and we put the same standards on them, right? Did they integrate with the culture? Did they learn the language? Did they actually adapt to the food, the local environment? What's the answer? It's pretty freaking obvious. Like, no, they did not. They completely plundered the land. They wiped out existing cultures, and, the damages we're still reaping today. I just don't understand. And I know, like, people are going to come at me like, no, blah, 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 like that. But who really came down with that not all insert word here? Who was that? Because it wasn't one of us. It wasn't one of us.
So let me get this straight. The country Sri Lanka, which has predominantly brown people, but some black people in there, was kind enough to open the doors for, predominantly Russians, but also Ukrainians that were fleeing the current conflict. And they've got a bit of a lax visa policy. You can come for 30 days, but they keep extending it and stuff like that. So you were fleeing the current conflict that's going on between Russia and Ukraine. You move to the country, and then you are instituting parties that are for just white people. Do you know how crazy that sounds? But then, who's surprised? Because let's not forget, this is the same thing that happened in other parts of the world. And we have the current situation of Israel-Palestine. We have South Africa as a great example, and we have other countries in Africa that face the same situation. So, what does that say? Colonization is just a thing that some people love. The actions just prove that they don't shy away from anything that's going to put them above the population of people that actually there to begin with. How can a country just open themselves to you because they're giving you sanctuary, and then you come there and you're like, nah, but you know what? We just want a party that is white people down. The organizer of the party has come out saying, no, they didn't mean to be racist or any sort of discrimination. It was a bit of a faux pas, whatever the case might be. But it does really stink, because there is traction for this. It's just wild. But hey, it is what it is.
This is one of those flyers thrown by the Russians that are supposed to be white only. And even down here with everything, it says even the face has to be white. See, this is why you can't trust these white people. These Russians, these Ukrainians went to Sri Lanka because they were trying to escape a war. They're guests of Sri Lanka, setting up these racist parties. White people always criticize when immigrants of color move around, but when we move, we bring culture. We revitalize communities. But when white people move around, they always bring their colonizer mentality, push out the locals, set up white-only bars. So there's no need for an investigation. You want me to investigate? White people are racist. This is who they are. There you go. Case closed.
But they've been criticised by locals for allegedly setting up whites-only bars.
Yo, I've been seeing this situation for a hot minute. When I see stuff like this, I just wonder, like, do white people look at this and just be like, yo, these white people set us back like 200, 300 years or whatever, bro? Like, or do y'all, I don't know, bro, because the colonizer is speaking very, very loudly in this. Very, very loudly. So I just be wondering, like, is a new age of white people looking at this as like, you shouldn't have got caught? Or they looking at it as like, damn, y'all set us back so many years. Like, yeah, see, that's crazy, bro. How you move to a country like this? I mean, I don't even know if Sri Lanka's get as dark. Actually, yeah, Sri Lanka's be getting as dark as we. Maybe even darker. I just think white-only bars try to segregate, bruh.
People tell you that I know not all white people think like this. Majority of people don't even think this way. It's only a small group of people that behave this way, that have this racist mentality, blah, blah, blah. And a part of me still believes that that's the case. But when you see things like this, it makes you second guess. It makes you to think, is this really true? You know? And I truly, in my heart, I truly want these guys to be kicked out, because they don't deserve to be saved. They don't deserve pity. And I hope that the government of Sri Lanka, they pass this bill and kick these people out. I mean, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. This is the video for today, guys. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel. If you like videos like this, let me know what you think also. Follow me on all my socials, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.